Would someone please help me? Just tell me what to do. I would cry these words 100 times a day as I lay on the floor of my home. Immobilized by the feelings of futility and hopelessness that pervaded every single cell of my body. Imploring the universe, God, Buddha, Allah, all of the divinities. Would someone please give me a sense of direction so I could find my way out of this ugly space they called depression? At the time, I had no idea there was an amazing metamorphosis process happening for me. I entered depression a hard, steely, highly successful corporate executive, but I was defined by my ego, my salary, the car I drove, the brands I wore, and the power I wielded. I emerged from the chrysalis, a soft, heart-based, free-spirited, intuitive woman. I was no longer defined by my havings and doings, but rather who I be, compassionate, joy-filled, loving, and free. My depression was a powerful process of redefinition and reinvention of me. It cut me to the core. It was brutal, but necessary because it revealed the true essence of me. I'm forever grateful for my deep depression deliverance. It set me free. I just wish at the time I'd judged it less and loved me more. For those of you that have experienced depression, you are familiar with the hopelessness, the numbness, the anger, the resentment, and the total sense of powerlessness to be able to change the way you feel. People look at you and they see a normal or wonderful life. They have no idea of the bleakness and the futility that's been constructed in your head and projected into your heart. The endless nature of this dark, gnarly space makes you want to run into the nothingness so that you can hide your shame and your pain. I would lay in this space for days. The alternative, facing reality, would ignite my rage and resentment. I flip-flopped between these two states, the void of nothingness and my silent, simmering rage. I felt volatile and bipolar. The self-judgment was enormous. I felt so broken and I couldn't fix myself. In corporate, I was this amazing change catalyst, but here at home, on my floor, I couldn't even get up. Oh my gosh. I just wanted to run and hide. The embarrassment and shame that ran through my veins. I felt like a total failure. I didn't want anyone to see me this way. What would they think? My image, my reputation, my credibility, it would be shattered. No one would want to hire me. So how did I land in this dark, gnarly space? Feelings and emotions were not a valued commodity when I was growing up. In fact, they were considered a weakness and undisciplined. As a child, I used to feel things so deeply. I wanted to express the totality of my heart, mind, and soul. But in those days, children were meant to be seen and not heard. So I learnt to edit myself and shut my feelings down. Corporate became a safe haven for me because feelings and emotions were totally inappropriate. So I became head-led and ruled by an amazing, powerful mind. But over time, I ended up becoming a prisoner in the cell block of my own mind. I became a caged beast, pacing, within this steely enclosure that I had built to keep me aligned with the old, outdated, conditioned values and beliefs of my past. A cavern of emptiness grew inside of me. I wanted to leave my corporate career, but I was loyal. I had responsibilities, and people depended upon me. So I stayed. Eventually, the deep disturbia really got to me, and I threw in the towel. But I wasn't ready for what came next. A chasm so deep between my reality and what I expected from me, it grew and grew and grew and became the great abyss of my depression. What I didn't realize at the time was that my expectations, my values and beliefs were no longer in alignment with the truth of who I was. My ego and my self-identity were in need of a huge renovation. My depression was helping me detach from my havings of doings. It had started this deconstruction process. I was effectively taking off the roof of me and ripping out my walls of my inner sanctuary. Literally, I felt gutted, naked, vulnerable. Nothing in my life was relatable. And yet, I still kept holding myself accountable to my old symbols of success. This drove me to greater depths of despair. Eventually, I questioned my existence. I thought, what's the point? Why am I here? I cannot fulfill my own personal expectations. I can't even get off the floor. My teachers all those years ago must have been right. They used to say, Jenny is full of latent potential, but she refuses to apply herself. She is a non-achiever. I sobbed and sobbed for hours. I laid on the floor, imagining how I could cease my existence. It was over. I was done. I didn't want to play anymore. So I made my peace. I surrendered and I let go. And then, this shaft of light fell across my heart. And I heard my intuition whisper to me, Jenny, just breathe. That's all you have to do, is just breathe. That is enough. You are enough. And in that moment, I realized my pilot light had been reignited. But guess what? It was in a different place. I was no longer dwelling in my head. My soul had taken the lead, and it had re-sparked my heart. Everyone talks about the magical transformation from the caterpillar to the butterfly, don't we? We love it. But no one ever talks about the green pile of goo it becomes when it loses form during the process of transmutation. Yes, we too have moments of transmutation where we lose form, and yes, we too become a pile of stinking goo. I call these MUSH moments. MUSH moments are a powerful opportunity for us to reinvent ourselves. A wonderful opportunity to upgrade who we be and our identity. My depression was one of my biggest MUSH moments. I was being summoned into the Cocoon Room. I had been resisting and avoiding essential change. And that's the thing with us humans. We get attached. We don't like to surrender. We don't like to let go, particularly in relationships. And you know, one of the biggest relationships you have is with yourself, your ego, your id. Would you break up with yourself? Probably not. Do you take the time to notice the signs and signals that life is trying to show you that it's time for a new beginning? Often no. We resist. Perhaps depression is a powerful metamorphic process that happens for us when we get stuck, resistant, or we're ruled by the past. If we could see depression as a process of transmutation, an opportunity to reinvent ourselves, this would be a powerful perception switch. It's also far, far more empowering and full of purpose, which would lessen that gripping feeling of futility and hopelessness. We all have our mush moments. It's an opportunity to upgrade yourself to the truth of who you be. I know it can be scary, and you perceive there may be great losses, but there's everything to gain. So accept that invitation to the Cocoon Room, and remember, soft eyes for you. That swells my heart.